so I did nothing but like train for, you know, 45 minutes twice a day. And
I seen kind of a rough cut of it, yeah.
What do you think of it?
I'm very pleased with it.
did a lot of reading and soul searching. And
I had the opportunity to work with a director who knows about working with actors, and I had the opportunity to work with an actor who is one of the most talented actors that I've ever worked with.
I was working out a game plan for the third chapter.
So Eric and I were able to, rock and roll with Stuart's direction, and it was a good feeling, the whole thing. And
all the mistakes I made the first two chapters, and not making them again, because it just made life difficult for me.
We couldn't have did it unless Vinny wrote a good script, Vinny Patrick, and
I thought, nah, I'm going to do it my way, and and I made a big mistake.
The audience is going to go see Indiana Jones and all that crap, and so, I think what we did was something that we wanted to do, and the people who like to see certain kind of movies are going to go see,
Was an asshole not to take Richard sound good advice that he gave. I was so happy that the physical pain was over, because that was horrifying. That went on for nearly 10 years.
There are Hollywood flameouts, and then there's Mickey Rourke. Not your typical fell-off story. We're talking about a guy who went from rising star to human wrecking ball, torpedoing his own career, torching scripts, punching directors, and somehow waking up decades later with a dog, a busted face, and an Oscar nomination. In the 80s, Mickey was the next De Niro. Directors fought over him. Studios bet big on him. He had it all. The looks, the talent, the mystique. By the 90s, he was sleeping in a truck, getting into bar fights, losing roles to Tom Cruise, and apparently letting Chihuahua make his life decisions. This isn't just a fall from grace. It's a nosedive off the Hollywood sign in slow motion. And we're about to find out. How does someone so talented crash this hard? Why did he bail on Top Gun, Rain Man, Pulp Fiction all without blinking? And how the hell did he still come back? Mickey Rourke's story is a wild blend of brilliance and chaos. He never played by Hollywood's rules. Sometimes he didn't even read the scripts. He fought in real boxing rings, got real injuries, and lived like every day was a final act of a Scorsese film. And yet somehow through the blood, the surgeries, the expletive-laced interviews, and the total career wipeouts, he rose again. And not just in some straight-to-DVD nonsense. He came back swinging in one of the greatest comeback performances in film history. So buckle up, because this isn't just a story of a Hollywood star. It's a full-throttle, bottle-smashing, face-morphing odyssey through success, sabotage, and redemption. This is Mickey Rourke, beautifully broken and dangerously unforgettable. Before he became a human hand grenade in Hollywood, Mickey Rourke was just another kid trying to survive the chaos of real life. Born Philip Andre Rourke Jr., he didn't dream of movie sets or red carpets. He dreamed of not getting his face kicked in on the streets of Miami. As a teen, Mickey found two things that kept him alive: boxing gloves and trouble. He wasn't just a hothead, he was good. Fast hands, brutal instinct, the kind of guy who walked into a ring like it owed him money. And boxing wasn't some hobby. He was serious, trained with real pros, took real hits, and even thought about turning it into a full-time career. But even then, Mickey wasn't just swinging fists. He had that flair, that drama, that cinematic pain bubbling underneath. Then came a twist of fate, so bizarre it could have been written for a movie. A friend convinced him to sub in for a stage production of Jean Genet's Death Watch. It was gritty, dark, filled with criminals and twisted souls. Characters Mickey didn't have to study. He understood them. He was them. The moment he stepped on stage, something clicked. This wasn't pretending. This was channeling raw emotion through someone else's words. And he liked it. That spark lit a fire. And with nothing but $400 and a nickname from his dad, Mickey, after Mickey Mantle, he took off for New York City. Now here's where most actors flounder for years. Mickey walks into Lee Strasberg's legendary actor studio and gets accepted on the first damn try. Let that marinate. Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, took 5 attempts. Rourke, and immediately, it wasn't clean. It wasn't polished. But Mickey had something you couldn't teach: danger, unpredictability. So Strasberg saw it. Mickey poured himself into training, working odd jobs to keep the lights on: pool cleaner, chip vendor, bouncer. He'd bust heads one night, then recite Shakespeare the next morning. That's how hungry he was. His early film roles were small, often forgettable as a background extra in Spielberg's 1941. blink and you'll miss it appearances in TV shows. But then came 1981's Body Heat, where he played a low-life arsonist with maybe 5 minutes of screen time and stole the whole movie. Critics circled his name like vultures. Who is that guy? Everyone asked. Then came Diner, and that's when it happened. He played boogie slick, cocky, irresistible. The kind of guy you hate to love and love to hate. It was raw, unscripted energy. He wasn't acting. He was boogie. The movie hit hard award nominations, box office love, and Mickey Rourke's face on posters across the country. It was official. Hollywood had a new obsession. But what made Rourke so magnetic wasn't just his looks or voice. It was a sense that at any moment he could break. That simmering intensity. That emotional landmine. The directors loved it. The audience couldn't look away. He was like James Dean, if Dean had grown up in a fight gym. Then came Rumblefish, a strange, artsy Coppola flick shot in black and white, with Nicolas Cage and Matt Dillon in tow. Guess who stole the show again? Mickey, as the haunting, mysterious older brother with too much weight on his shoulders and no one to lean on. The film flopped at the box office, but solidified Mickey as an unpredictable, soulful, and dangerous. He was on the edge, and people loved it. He brought that chaotic energy to every set. He made you feel like anything could happen. And in the tightly controlled world of 1980 studio filmmaking, that was a thrill no one else offered. But even now, cracks were forming. Mickey didn't care for Hollywood's rules. He'd argue with directors, ignore scripts, turn down roles for no clear reason. He wasn't difficult because he wanted to be. He just didn't see the point in faking it. And that realness, the thing that made him shine, was already starting to burn bridges behind him. Mickey Rourke had all the tools to become an icon. And for a moment, it looked like he would. But the higher you fly in Hollywood, the more brutal the fall. And Mickey? He wasn't just gonna fall. He was about to nosedive, fists first. Most actors fear failure. Mickey Rourke? He bulldozed into it like it owed him money. In the mid-'80s, Mickey was a red-hot sex symbol, indie darling, and the kind of actor everyone whispered about like he was a secret weapon. Then came the implosion. First, the missed blockbusters. He was originally cast in Beverly Hills Cop before Eddie Murphy. Yep, that version almost happened. Rourke signed, pocketed $500,000, and bailed after months of rewrites. Didn't even shoot a scene. Then he skipped Top Gun, handed it to Cruise. Rain Man? Rumor says he forgot the audition. Mickey says he was blackballed. Pulp Fiction? Didn't bother reading the script. Thought the pay was a joke. Platoon? Turned it down because he didn't want to work with Charlie Sheen. Called him a garbage actor. These weren't near misses. They were torched opportunities. Rourke wasn't just picking badly, he was rejecting brilliance like it was contagious. But the real damage happened on set. On 9.5 weeks, his chemistry with Kim Basinger was electric on-screen, but freezing cold off it. They didn't talk. She hated his cigarette stench, called him emotionally abusive, and avoided him in elevators. The director leaned into the tension, saying it helped the performance. The studio panicked. The film bombed in America, critics hated it, and Basinger landed a Razzie nomination. Then France got a look and went wild. The movie made over $100 million overseas and ran in theaters for 5 years in Paris. Suddenly, Mickey wasn't just famous. He was mythical in Europe. Back home, though, disaster kept piling up. Year of the Dragon flopped. The Pope of Greenwich Village flopped. Angel Heart flopped and ignited a personal war with Robert De Niro. Mickey claimed De Niro treated him like garbage, wouldn't speak to him, sabotaged his improvisations, and ran crying to the director whenever Mickey pushed back. That feud simmered for decades and came back to haunt him when Scorsese was casting The Irishman. More on that later. Then came Barfly, a gritty, booze-soaked indie Mickey poured his soul into. To get into character, he had 2 front teeth pulled out. For real. The movie flopped. Same with Prayer for the Dying, where the studio hacked it into an action mess. Mickey raged, blasted the execs in interviews, and torched even more industry goodwill. On Johnny Handsome, he insulted producer Charles Roven, calling him a nobody in sunglasses who shouldn't be near a film set. That nobody would later produce The Dark Knight, Wonder Woman, and Oppenheimer. Guess he never got a call back? He could have starred in Dead Poets Society, had talks with the director, but Mickey wanted script rewrites. When they said no, he exploded. The role went to Robin Williams. Mickey signed on for Wild Orchid instead of softcore mess where he met Care Otis, the woman who became his wife, and then his co-defendant in a tabloid nightmare. There were arrests, restraining orders, drug rumors. He claimed love, She claimed abuse. It got messy. At one point, Mickey cut off his own finger in a fit of rage. Surgeons reattached it. Because of course they did. By the early 90s, the industry had stopped calling. Studios saw him as volatile, uninsurable, and radioactive. So Mickey went back to his first love, boxing. From 1991 to 1994, he fought 8 pro matches and won them all. But the cost? Brutal. He suffered concussions, broken bones, and facial damage so severe he needed reconstructive surgery. Multiple surgeries. Actually, each one is worse than the last. He says one doctor botched his face so badly that his own dog didn't recognize him. By the time he was healed, Mickey Rourke looked like someone trying to impersonate Mickey Rourke in a Halloween mask. He was broke, divorced, homeless. At one point, he was pushing a shopping cart down Sunset Boulevard, living off $200 a month and eating microwave spaghetti. Then came an unexpected lifeline, Sylvester Stallone. Sly spotted Mickey looking like a cautionary tale in a truck stop diner. Shocked, Stallone offered him a role in Get Carter, paid him out of pocket, fought with the studio, and got Mickey back on set. It wasn't a comeback, but it was a pulse. From there, Mickey bounced through the wilderness, straight to DVD action flicks, indie films, random sequels, 9.5 weeks, 2 years that happened, and blink and you'll miss it parts. He even starred in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, a small role but powerful. A reminder, this guy could still act. When given the right moment, he could blow you away. But those moments were rare. Hollywood had moved on. Mickey Rourke had become a ghost known more for plastic surgeries, punchlines, and past glory. He wasn't done, though, not even close. Somewhere in the wreckage of fights, the flops, the self-mutilation, the talent remained. What he needed was someone crazy enough to believe in him again. And that's it. Hollywood loves a comeback story. Then Mickey Rourke gave it one of its wildest. But this wasn't some triumphant montage with uplifting music. This was blood, sweat, screaming pain, and a director bold enough to say, "Shut up, follow orders, and act like your life depends on it." Because it did. Enter Darren Aronofsky. He was making the wrestler a raw, emotional gut punch about a washed-up fighter trying to hold his broken life together. Sound familiar? Aronofsky first wanted Nicolas Cage, but Cage chose a paycheck over prestige. So Aronofsky called Mickey and gave it to him straight. No diva behavior, no fights, no disappearing into the desert with a chihuahua. You want this? You earn it. Shockingly, Mickey agreed. He didn't just behave, he delivered. He rewrote his dialogue, lived inside the character, worked 16-hour days. He got hurt more filming that movie than he ever did in a boxing ring. Back spasms, shoulder injuries, brutal training. He collapsed in bed every night, shaking, crying from the pain. When the rap party came, Mickey wasn't there. He was at home, silent and broken, trying to process what he'd just gone through. But when the movie dropped, the world remembered. Critics raved. The audience cried. Mickey Rourke was back not as a gimmick, not as a tabloid punchline, but as an actor. He won a Golden Globe, got an Oscar nomination, and though Sean Penn took the trophy, there's a story that Penn later handed it to Mickey over drinks and said, "You deserved it more." True? Who knows? But it felt true. Hollywood came knocking again. Iron Man 2 gave Mickey a shot at blockbuster glory. He played Whiplash, a tattooed Russian psycho with electric whips and a tortured soul. The gold teeth? Mickey's idea. The pet bird? Also Mickey's. He even visited a real Russian prison to get in the zone. He wanted the character to be more than a villain. He wanted him human. They shot those scenes, then cut them. Mickey lost it and unleashed a profanity storm on the studio. But still, the film made $624 million. Mickey had $1 billion movie on his resume. Then came The Expendables, Immortals, more hits. That year alone, his films grossed over $1 billion worldwide. It was like the universe was saying, "Okay, we get it, you're back." But here's the thing about comebacks. They don't always stick, especially if you're Mickey Rourke. Because right as the tide was turning, he started burning bridges again. He clashed with directors, criticized co-stars. Martin McDonagh wanted him for 7 Psychopaths. They had one meeting. Mickey walked out and later told the press the guy was a wannabe genius and should go jerk off squatting. Charming. Scorsese allegedly considered him for The Irishman, but Robert De Niro shut it down. Mickey said De Niro threatened to walk if he was cast. The studio said Mickey was never even on the list. Who's lying? Maybe both. But Mickey's version? It just sounds so Mickey, it's hard not to believe. His final shot at franchise gold came with Sin City 2. Same cast, same director, same visual flair, but the magic was gone. The film bombed, barely earning half its budget. And just like that, the curtain dropped. Again. Since then, Mickey's drifted back into B-movie land direct-to-video flicks. Overseas productions, weird cameos, and offbeat guest appearances that confuse more than excite. And yet, he's still out there. Still fighting. Still showing up. He says he would consider for big roles as recently as 2019. He also says De Niro blocked those, too. Or maybe, just maybe, he blocked himself. His face? A canvas of surgical misfires. His interviews? Still brutal. Still unfiltered, still pure Mickey, and under the tough guy veneer, there's a trace of regret. He admits he blew it, that he wasted his prime, that he let pride, pain, and impulse lead the way. And when asked what he regrets the most, the surgeries, he says, he pauses, and not shutting the F*** up when I should have. Someone was just around the corner. Mickey Rourke is a kind of Hollywood story where they warn you about being talented, self-destructive, unforgettable. He had the look, the charisma, the skill. Then he smashed it with both hands. And yet, somehow, against every odd with broken bones and a wrecked reputation, he clawed his way back. You can argue all day about whether Mickey ever reached his full potential. But what you can't argue, when the man was on, he was unreal. He didn't act. He confessed. Every performance felt like a near-death experience for the character, and maybe for Mickey too. His resume is a cemetery of what-ifs. What if he hadn't burned every bridge from L.A. to Cannes? What if he hadn't chosen boxing over acting at the peak of his career? What if he just chilled out? But here's the thing. Mickey Rourke was never going to chill. That wasn't in the script. He came into Hollywood like a street brawler, loud, raw, brilliant, and unwilling to play nice. He made movies that flopped, movies that were butchered, movies no one wanted. But in the middle of all that chaos, he created moments that still stop you in your tracks. He was unpredictable, uncoachable. He insulted co-stars, disappeared from sets, and threw away chances other actors would have sold organs for. And yet we're still talking about him. Because you can't fake what Mickey had. That darkness, that sensitivity, that tortured charisma that somehow survived behind the scars and smoke. He's not the success story people celebrate. He's the warning, the lesson, the punchline. But he's also something else. He's a guy who got knocked out, face mangled, career buried, and stood back up. In the end, Mickey Rourke matters not because he was perfect, but because he was painfully real. Because in a town of masks, Mickey brought a bloody face and said, "This is me. Take it or leave it." And if you've ever felt washed up, counted out, or told you blew your shot, maybe Mickey's story isn't tragedy. Maybe it's a second chance waiting to happen. If this story hits you, drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and tell us, who's the next Hollywood misfit we should deep dive into?